American farmers are facing an economic catastrophe that most of us never see. While we shop for groceries, family farms across the country are collapsing under the weight of failed trade policies and plummeting crop prices. Well, today we are diving into a crisis that threatens the backbone of our food system. What you're about to hear isn't just about politics or economics. It's about real people losing generational farms because the markets they depended on have vanished overnight. And the solution, some are finding, it's revolutionary, but it might be too late. Well, let's break down what's really happening in America's heartland.
Trump says, be patient. The farmer's going to be better than ever. Well, you better hurry up because we can't stand this much.
That was Franz Roland, a farmer here in southern Georgia. He's been farming for more than 40 years, but he said the last year has been one of the most difficult ever.
With the prices like they are today, we're not going to make any money. We just try to figure out a way to not lose so much.
He doesn't blame President Trump for the economic challenges he's facing, but he said the Trump administration hasn't helped farmers either.
We've lost our market share, our trade to China. I don't know who dropped the ball in Washington to allow these prices trade to diminish like it has, but somebody dropped the ball. Somebody wasn't looking out for us.
Trump.
They got to get this trade back, or we all going to be doomed out here.
But many voters we talked to in Baldwin County, which President Trump won for the first time in 2024, like what they see from his first year in office.
Looking at where my 401k is, I'm going to give an A. Overall, I think he is working towards the goals and the commitments that he made.
I'm tired of the United States getting pushed around, and I'm glad he's standing up.
He's trying to do everything. Sometimes he tries to do a little bit too much, but I'm happy with him.
Oh, shout out and a big thank you to the big corporations for not paying farmers a fair price for their crops. So far this year, I have not sold a single kernel of corn to the big corporations that buy nearly all the corn in the United States. I sold them zero. I've sold all of it direct to deer hunters and cattle farmers. I've ground into cornmeal, I've ground into grits. That bin is getting mighty low. I sold zero to you, corporate America. I'm selling it all direct, and I'm making a lot more money doing it that way. With my peanuts, they tanked the price of peanuts earlier this year. We normally get about $600 a ton or $500 a ton, somewhere in that range. In the 1980s, we got $750 to $800 a ton. Right now, the big corporations are paying peanut farmers $380 a ton for peanuts in the 1980s. It is slam ridiculous. It is a shame. And something needs to be done about it. And what I personally am doing about it, I started selling peanut brittle made from my peanuts right here on this farm. We are within 20 bags of selling out. We've been selling peanut brittle, I think, for 4 days now. We prepared the amount we thought it would take us through the holidays to sell. We sold it in 4 days. We sold peanut brittle all over this entire country. We unlocked international shipping this morning online, and we're selling it worldwide. Peanut brittle from this farm out to folks like you, because corporate America wouldn't give us a price we deserve for our crops, so we just cut them out of the loop. They're no longer getting a piece. It's straight from me to you.
Tariffs are incredibly bad for farmers. I mean, by the way, anybody who deals with commodity markets knows that tariffs are terrible on commodity markets. So like any farmer who didn't know this was coming, frankly, should just have to give me their farm. It's like, I can't help you, man. But it's killed us on a couple of levels. One, we have lots of rice right now sitting in storage that we can't sell at any price. All of the stuff about China's going to buy American soybeans, that's just a lie. They bought 5% of what they bought last year. Those are the real numbers. And so nobody's buying soybeans. The other thing is that the incredible investments in Brazilian agricultural infrastructure have brought Brazil up to like growing industrial crops. So that has driven the price down of cotton, soybeans, rice, and corn. I think the day Obama left office, the 3 industrial sized cotton crops in the world were China, India, and the United States. And now it's China, India, Brazil, and the United States. And so like having all of these massive industrial sized crops brought online directly because of tariff threats the first time. I mean, it's Taco. He always chickens out. But the damage has been done. Like, if we elected an entire new government tomorrow, I mean, I don't know how long it would take to get those markets back. And the prices aren't coming back for a long time. I mean, this is like a real existential threat for the American farmer. And I don't think that government payments are going to get it done. And I don't.
Your farm buddies going oopsie at this point?
Yeah. A lot of people are going oopsie because like people just want to own the libs and like sort of thought that like this was all talk and nothing was going to happen. And like people are going to lose their family farms. I mean, there are people who aren't going to be able to get crop loans. You know, that's coming up pretty soon, and land values are going to go down. And like, it's really bad. And I don't know how long this is going to take to come back. I mean, somebody's got to go over and like try to kiss China's ass to buy these soybeans. I don't really see that happening. So I don't really know what's going to happen, except that like the American farmer is in existential trouble. And anybody who tells you anything other than that is lying.
Now, here's where things get personal for these farmers. Imagine building your entire business around reliable customers only to watch them disappear because of policy decisions you had no control over. China used to buy massive amounts of American soybeans. Now, they are purchasing just 5% of what they used to. 5%. Meanwhile, those tariff threats didn't hurt China nearly as much as they devastated American agriculture. Instead, they pushed Brazil to massively invest in farming infrastructure. Now, Brazilian cotton, soybeans, rice, and corn flood global markets are driving prices down permanently. Peanut farmers today get $380 per ton. In the 1980s, $750 to $800. That's not inflation adjusted. That's actual collapse. And here's the cruel irony. The very corporations buying these crops at rock bottom prices are the ones profiting while family farms go under. So, what are farmers doing to survive? Some have found an answer that's both inspiring and heartbreaking. They are cutting corporations out entirely. Instead of selling raw crops to big warehouses that underpay them, they are transforming their products and selling directly to consumers worldwide. One farmer we heard about grinds his corn into cornmeal and grits. Another makes peanut brittle. They ship globally using online platforms. Finally, getting the prices they deserve. This farmer selling to deer hunters and cattle ranchers instead of corporations, he's making significantly more money. But here's the catch. This adds enormous extra work. These farmers now handle production, processing, marketing, distribution, and customer service across multiple sectors. They've become entrepreneurs out of desperation. But we need to ask the hard question. Is this sustainable? Can individual farmers really replace the established trade systems that took decades to build? The sources suggest the damage may already be irreversible. Even if policies changed tomorrow, how do you win back markets that have found new suppliers? Brazil isn't going anywhere. Those industrial-scale operations are permanent fixtures in global agriculture now. The competitive advantage America once had is gone, and there is another crisis brewing that most people don't even understand. Land values. When crop prices collapse, the land itself becomes worthless. This creates a vicious cycle because farmers use their land as collateral for crop loans. These loans fund each season's planting. As land values drop, banks won't approve the loans. Without loans, farmers can't plant. Without planting, there is no crop. Without crops, the farm dies. That deadline is approaching soon for many farmers, and their land values keep falling. Government payments haven't been enough to stop the bleeding. Some farmers remain loyal to the political agenda that contributed to these tariffs, while others, they are openly frustrated. This has created deep tensions in rural communities that traditionally voted as a bloc. What we are witnessing is the slow motion collapse of family farming as an economic model. The question isn't whether farmers are working hard enough or being innovative enough. Clearly they are. The question is whether American agriculture can survive when global trade relationships are treated as bargaining chips rather than carefully maintained partnerships. The farmers selling directly to consumers are heroes making the best of an impossible situation, but their individual success stories can't mask the systemic failure happening across the sector. When the dust settles, we may find that America's agricultural independence, something we've taken for granted for generations, has been permanently compromised, and that affects every single one of us. Well, guys, drop a comment. Let me know. What are your thoughts? Also, remember to subscribe, like, and share as well. And until next time, bye-bye.